Not sexual sugar daddy. The name of the cologne is sexual sugar daddy. All right, we give praise, esteem, and honor to living Elohim in the name of Yahushua, and we Baruch his Kadesh Shabbat. We speak this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba, you receive me not, for another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There's even one who accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Because had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Praise be to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Blessings on his Kadesh Shabbat. Let's take a trip back to Psalms 145 and continue down the road. You can also go ahead and grab you, what you call it? Oh, no. That you just didn't see the S. I got a Detroit hat, but that's not it. That's a San Diego one there. Yeah, you could just see the D. That's a San Diego one there, man. We got the S. The D. You probably can't see the S because it was white against that pink. I have to always get a Tiger's hat for my Aunt Betty, who lived in Pontiac. My Aunt Betty was my granddaddy's sister. She lived in Pontiac, Michigan. We never went there, but she always came down here because I utterly refused. Then also I didn't have an option out either because I was a child. But yeah, we never went to Michigan, at least not to my knowledge. Oh, I got one though. I got a Tiger hat in the closet though. I do have one. I had one back in the days. Honestly, I almost got one for every team in Major League Baseball. We like 6 short, but I'm weird like that. Different colors, different things. I like hats. Some people feel like when you get to a certain age, you shouldn't wear fitted hats. But nigga, I ain't gonna be walking around here with a derby on, and I ain't got no suit on. That don't make no sense. Psalms 145 and 11. They shall speak of the esteem of your kingdom and talk of your power, to make known to the sons of men his mighty acts and the esteemed majesty of his kingdom. Your kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and your dominion endure throughout all generations. We're going to go back to 1 Chronicles 29 in a minute, but let's cycle through some more things in Psalms 145 that we have not gotten to. Verse 14, who will uphold all that fall and raise up all those that be bowed down. So, of course, uphold is small. We want to look at fall. If you didn't know, it's the fall, that is to be cast down and also to fall of a violent death. I want you to come over here to Romans chapter 8, and this one here is on general principle. From Romans 8 to the Epistle of Jude. Still a little smoky. I smell more. I don't smell no fruits, just leather. I don't smell no fruit, just leather.
It's not like a steak, it's on top.
Yeah. Smoky. Romans chapter 8, verse 31. Definitely. I like leather. A little leather. He said, what shall we say then to these things? If Elohim be for us, who could be against us? He that spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us of all things? See, that's what you have to sit back and pay attention and consider. You know what? We talked about it a few times. It's in my brain because it's talking about kingdom. Come on over here to Ecclesiastes 4. You already know what it is. 4 and 14. For out of the prison he come to reign, whereas also he that is born in his kingdom become poor. Now y'all remember that, right? Born in his kingdom, you become poor, or in this regard, you become humble. Because these are the, like I said, right? And as I mentioned the other night, a lot of individuals don't speak of this man kingdom because they're not of his kingdom. And again, like that's roots for poor, a poor man or someone who is in want or is in poor or in lack. Well, we would look at this as an individual who is hungry. See, those who are born in this kingdom, they have to be born to have a hunger for Elohim. Most people don't have that. See, I was talking with this woman because this woman, she kind of mashed a bunch of different conversations together about why men complain about women who want to be taken care of, and then trying to diminish women who have accolades and accomplishments such as degrees and jobs and all these things of this nature. And most of you already know, especially these men can tell you this here, especially if the man is older. Men don't care anything about that. Now, this woman is making mention, well, she's a doctor. And you get sick, she can nurse your kids. But I'm like, that's not what's running through a man's mind when he first meet a woman. Or she tells him that he's a doctor. That's more of a feminine mindset. If a man says he's a doctor, that's usually what's going to come to a woman's mind. Nothing's coming to a man's mind, but like, oh, she's a doctor. She can nurse my kids if we get sick. No, he's not even, for the most part, a man ain't even thinking about a woman having his kids that quickly. You know what I'm saying? That's not running across his brain. She's more so referring to a situation, okay, now you've been with her. You understand? But what I would make this mention and tell her, she's like, well, what do men want? And y'all already know you want a woman who is in shape. You want her to cooperate. You want her to be submissive. You want her to be obedient. You want her to follow. You want her to take hold to your vision and plan. You want her to be on your team. Now, to her, those things were vague, but these things are not vague because, and she mentioned Kevin Samuels. I'm like, baby, let me go ahead and straighten you out because you think somebody on some groupie type of time. Nigga, screw Kevin Samuels. We live for Yahuwah. And when we turn around and we look at Yahuwah does not care about any of our accomplishments. He don't care if you come to him and talk about you got degrees and this and that, and you accomplish that. That means absolutely nothing to him because none of those things are a benefit to him. You having a master's degree or you being a president or you being a congressman or you being a Fortune 500 CEO or a millionaire, Yahuwah don't care about any of those things because none of those things are a benefit to him. None of those things have any bearing on you coming through and fulfilling the vision of Yahushua HaMashiach, which is written in Shamahim and manifested unto men on the earth. It doesn't do anything for him. Of course, she didn't know that this is my perspective because I did not lead with that. Eventually, that had to be told. Because she said, you talking about being submissive, that's being subservient. I say, well, Yahushua came and taught you to be. Well, further, I told us what we already went over in Proverbs. The reason why I mention this here because we're talking about his kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. That means that's a reign and dominion. In order for a king to rule over you, you must submit to the king. See, most individuals, they're not submitting to the king. Now, of course, y'all know about Anaba, by humility and the fear of Yahuwah are riches, honor, and life. I'm like, baby, that's meekness, and meekness is the ability to submit and yield to another's will. Not my will be done, but your will be done. This is what Yahushua came and taught you to be subservient. Subservient, by definition, is to do. Let me just give it to you. Because she said being subservient was to follow blindly. And that is not the definition of subservient. That is not what it means to be subservient. This is what it means to be subservient. For an individual to be subservient, it is prepared to obey others unquestioningly. And the example was she was subservient to her parents. Oh, no. Now, what's one of the 10, everybody? Is it not to what? Honor your father and your mother? So that means you would be subservient. See, Paul, let me go ahead and show it to you in the text. And then we'll come over here to Luke chapter 1, and let's just look at it in the text. Let's see if Yahusha was subservient unto his parents. And that's Luke chapter 2. My apologies. Not Luke chapter 1. Luke chapter 2. My mistake. Luke chapter 2, everybody. You can pick it up at verse 48. We still holding Romans chapter 8. See, this is the problem. And I ain't get that too deep because she didn't respond back because she was like, you seem to be being contentious. I don't even know how anybody can tell somebody's being contentious through words typed on the screen, unless they were using particular words that are representative of contention. A lot of times when you're looking at being contentious, that means you're on the opposite side. Well, of course, that's going to be contentious. But most times when people say somebody's being contentious, it seems like you're being a contrarian, arguing for the sake of arguing. But what ends up happening is the same thing that men do that a lot of women do. A lot of women want to tell men how they feel and how they think. And then when men tell women we don't think or feel in the fashion that you say, they get offended. Well, what do many people on this earth do? Whether they Christians, Hebrews, or random people, they like to tell you who or how he think and how he view things, even though he has stated plainly and clearly what type of time he on. That's why you have to speak of his kingdom and of his power and of his reign and his dominion and his rule. So there'll be no mistaking, no way that they can go around here shaking themselves up out of the way. That Yahuwah's will be accomplished in the exact fashion that he said it will. Also, another definition of subservient is to be less important or subordinate, and to serving as a means to an end. So when you take those three things together, the thing that I mentioned is you should serve unquestioningly if you know the plan and vision of the man who gave it to you and you trust it. See, you're not serving Yahuwah and you're questioning him. That's why you can't be subservient. That's why most women can't be subservient to a man. You don't trust him. So, of course, you're not going to obey him without question. Anybody who has trust and hope, when we sit back and look at it, like I said, I had many more scripts for her, but she laid down like she was supposed to. Because I put it to you like this here. When he told Isaiah to get butt naked, Isaiah did not question. Did he question? He went ahead and walked around butt naked, did he not? When you look at all the men in the text who followed, trusted, and obeyed Yahuwah, and he told them to do something, those men did not question him and said, why I got to do this here. No, it didn't question him about that art. Abraham didn't question him about leaving Terah and his family and Ur of Chaldees. He did not question him. He left. See, that's a conversation that a lot of, like I said, right, that's a twofold thing. That's us as men towards Yahuwah, and that's women. People ain't ready to have that conversation. See, that's why I go back to him and folk. Maybe you can't tell me you serve Yahuwah and you ain't subservient to your husband. You's a lying whore. That's what you is. I tell you that to your face. You's a lying whore. Because if you're not subservient to your husband, but you say you subservient to Yahuwah, baby, you lying when that's what Yahuwah told you to do. You lying. You're not telling the truth. The Amak is not in you, baby. Ain't no faith and no faithfulness and firmness and fidelity of the word resting in you. See, that's a harsh pill to swallow because don't nobody want to hear that because now you're going to have to actually represent. It ain't about what you're doing to your man. It's really about how you feel about Yahuwah, how you treat your man, how you feel about Yahuwah. Oh, no. If you say you a servant of his, many women say they are Proverbs 31 woman. Proverbs 31 and with what? The woman who fears Yahuwah, she shall be praised. A woman who reverences Yahuwah definitely going to reverence her husband. Did it say serving as a means to an end? Is that not what Yahushua did, serve his father as a means to an end? Because he was the end of the law for all those that believe, or the purpose, the rhyme, the reason. There was a means to the end of his service. And guess what? Yahushua did not question. He told the man to go die and he did not question. See, this is why we don't have no power, Elohim. The one thing that our people don't want to deal with, you don't want to be under his dominion and rule. If you're going to be up under a king's stewardship, you got to be under his dominion and rule. That's why I don't go for all that junk talking about peace, king, you lying whore, because you ain't gonna be up under no power, no authority, and no dominion, and no ruler, no man. You want to do what you want to do. You want a partner. You want equality. So what you calling me a king for? Kings rule. And you think it's just about serving a natural man. This how you feel about Yahuwah. That's why we can't get right with Yahushua, because don't nobody want to serve him, because kings rule. That's why people don't say we need to get rid of monarchies. Like a lot of people got a problem with the Queen of England. I don't care nothing about that dead looking whore. And monarchies in other places, because that significance of rule. And truth be told, that's been the nature of mankind throughout the majority of its history. These quote unquote self-governing bodies, whether it be the governments of the United States, the communist governments of China and Russia, are a new thing in the earth. People were ruled over by monarchs from pretty much the beginning of time. And that's what people don't want to realize, because you got to be in complete submission to the king. See, you're gonna have to transition your mind away from the thought of a unilateral government, democracy, and republics and votes, and understand if you're gonna enter into the kingdom of Elohim, you must be under the complete submission of He who reigns, which is Elohim, which is your king. This ain't no up for debate. See, that's another part of the matter that they don't want to talk about. If we're gonna talk about this man's kingdom, this man is going to rule. He's going to rule, and you will submit or you will die. You're going to yield to his will or you're going to perish. There's no in between. See, that's a hard pill, because we don't have that mindset anymore. You used to walking around you used to voting for president. You ain't vote for Yahushua. You ain't vote for Yahuwah. You did one time. Look what it got you. It got you Saul. That would have got you. Y'all forget about that, though. Luke chapter 2, verse 46. And it came to pass after 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of doctors, both hearing them and asking them questions. And all that heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. And when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said unto him, Son, why have you dealt with us? Why have you thus dealt with us? Behold, your father and I have sought you sorry. And he said unto them, How is it that you sought me? Wish you not that I must be about my Abba's business? And he understood not the saying which he spake unto them. And he went down with them and came to Nazareth and was subject unto them. But his mother kept all these sayings in her heart. Now let's see what this Greek word for subject means, because it says he was subject unto his parents. What does this mean? Huptasso. And what does it mean? To arrange under, to be subordinate, or to be subservient. Because that when we just read that to be subservient means to be subordinate, to subject, to put into subjection, to subject oneself, to obey, to be subservient, to submit to one's control, to be subservient, to yield to one's admonition or advice, to obey, or to be subject. This man was subservient to his parents. He was subservient to Joseph and Mary. So you know he was subservient to Yahuwah. But see, when people, especially women, unfortunately, in this modern time, when they hear submission and subservience, they just deem something that someone's going to rule over them as a tyrant. Most men, when they hear it, because they were raised improperly, they hear submission and they think, oh, I got this power that I ain't ever had before in my life, and I'm going to yield it. But we know what 2 Samuel 23 tells us, that he that rule amongst men must be just. So I said, when I mentioned it to this woman, like, why do you have a problem with being what Yahushua taught you to do? He taught you to be subservient. His whole life was evidence of being subservient to his father's will, because he laid his life down because his father commanded him to do so. We don't have that type of mind. That's why we will not enter into his kingdom, because we don't hunger after righteousness. Because the man told us, blessed are those who hunger after righteousness, they shall be filled. That's what it means for one who is born in his kingdom, because they've been made poor. They're in want, they're in hunger. Well, what are you hungering for? You're hungering for the word. General principle, Job 23. Job 23. See, we wanna talk about that Numbers 23 I mentioned to y'all a couple weeks ago. Let me die the death of the righteous and make my end be like his. But we don't have the ability to yield to dominion and rule like he did. See, if you're going to talk about his kingdom and talk about his power, that means you're going to talk about his rule. See, it's easy for us to say, that's our king. But do you understand the level of reverence and honor that are given unto kings? Most of us have never been in the presence of one, so you wouldn't know. And that's understandable. That's why I say I don't go for that stuff, walk around calling black people king. What's up, king? Nigga, please. You know what I'm saying? That junk is for ego boost and for your pride. Because at the end of the day, kings carry themselves in a particular fashion. They always carry themselves regally and royally and have the mind of a ruler. And they will not tolerate anyone who will not be subject unto their rule. They will remove them. Most men can't call themselves kings because they have an insubordinate and disobedient woman under their charge, and they don't remove her. Why do I mention that? You already know why I mentioned that. Because your king got rid of you. You did not want to be under his charge in his kingdom. He removed you. Kings do not tolerate wanting disregard for their instructions and their rule and their dominion and their power and their authority. They don't tolerate it. They don't have to. That is going to be what's this thing I'm going to say with this here? That's going to be an eye opener, a soul shaker for a lot of people when they encounter this man and they see him sitting on that throne. And you ain't gonna be like that's your big brother Christ, this, that, then the third. It ain't gonna be none of that. You're gonna be looking at a king on his throne in his esteem. He ain't putting up with your folly. He ain't with it. He doesn't have to be. You're gonna give him the respect due to his position. That is a king, a real king. You know what I'm talking about? Not no junk king, not no Janny King, not no Burger King, and all that other stuff. Shalom, man. You know what I'm talking about? No, none of that. It's a real king sitting on a real throne with a real crown, with real dominion and real rule and real authority and the ability to exercise it. Right now, we talking about his power. But that's a whole nother matter. We got more. Job 23. Thank the Lord. Screw it. I'll pick it up at verse 1. Then Job answered and said, even today is my complaint bitter. My stroke is heavier than my groaning. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might come even to his seat. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You know, I had to give your son a little extra. It's been a long time since we've been this corner. It's been a long time since we've been this corner, Job 23. And this corner has been bent. So we look at this here. Even today, which is strictly Yom, bitter is my complaint. Bitter in this regard is Moray. It is rebellion. It is rebellious. You say he has a rebellious complaint. When we look at complaint, that is amusing. That is a complaint, anxiety, trouble, or talk, sayak. And what did that came from? Just the fact that he was asking for that cup to pass. That was a contrary complaint because he said the stroke was heavier than his groaning. Stroke is yod, which you know is the hand, or the hand of Elohim on him was heavier. See, this go back to what we were looking at in Romans 8, that he spared not his own son, but gave him up for us all. Groaning in this regard is anaka, which is sighing, groaning, expression of grief or physical distress. You know that. He said he was exceedingly sorrowful under death, and all that prayer came because of the distress. He said, oh, that I might find him, that I might come even to a seat. Well, you already know that now you have a right to the altar of which you did not have before, or to enter into the Kadash of the Kadash. You can come unto that seat. You could come to the throne of grace for help in the time of need. Then he said, I would order my cause before him and fill my mouth with my arguments. We're going to just jump off here and deal with argument off the top. Of course, that's Tokah. And that is rebuke, reproof, punishment, chastisement, or argument. And not argument in the regards of arguing, but argument as your cause. You would you'll fill your mouth with your calls and your supplications. Cause is mishpat, that is judgment. You would order judgment before him and feel the reasons why he ought to spare you, pleading for your life. I would know the words which he would answer me and understand what he would say unto me. Will he plead against me with his great power? No, but he would put strength in me. He said, I know the words, but he will answer me. I want you to pause. I want you to meditate on all of those. That's yada for no. That's milah for words. That's utterance of speech. He said he know the words that he would speak unto him and he would understand what he would say unto me. All that takes us back to is one particular matter what we discussed on Wednesday. What he said that Ruach would do, everybody. He said, well, his Ruach is present. What would he say that Ruach would do? Somebody tell me what he said. What? We still got to go back to John 16 too. What would he say that comforter would do? What'd you say, baby? I can't hear you. Oh, no. That's not what I'm looking for, right? On Wednesday, we were talking about that comforter. Read it in 3 places. What did he say that comforter would do? We read it in John 14, 15, and 16. And the theme was consistent. What would he say that comforter would do? It's okay. Because y'all not quick on the draw tonight. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you're stumped. There you go. He said he would bring those words to remembrance. So you already know what he would say to you. He ain't going to do nothing but say what that word done said. Let's keep on going now. Thank the Lord. Praise your Lord. Look at this here, right? He said he would plead against me. Will he plead against me with his great power? He said no. He would put his strength in him. And strength is not there. He said he would put in me. Well, what would he put in it? He put that ruach in you. Ain't that what he did with Yahushua when he resurrected from the dead? Follow me now. There the righteous might dispute with him, so I should be delivered forever from my judge. Behold, I go forward, but he is not there, and backwards, but I cannot perceive him. On the left hand, where do he work? But I cannot behold him. He hide himself on the right hand, that I cannot see him. But he know the way that I take. But when he have tried me, I shall come forth as gold. My foot have held his steps, his way have I kept, and not declined. See, a lot of people, they're not holding fast to his word. They ain't keeping his way. So their feet decline. That's the top. They get turned aside. He said, I ain't turned aside. He said, neither have I gone back from the commandment of his lips. I have esteemed the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. So this is an individual who's been born in his kingdom. Because those who are born in this kingdom, they're hungry. Most people are not hungry. Necessary here is simply statues. That's Coke. Y'all know that statue's ordinance limit because food is not there. So he esteemed the words of his mouth as his own statutes, his own laws. Basically what he governed his life by. That's why he say, he that eat my flesh and drink my blood shall live by me as I live by Abba. You're going to live by these words. See, most people don't want to live by these words because if you're going to follow this king, you're going to have to be under the dominion and authority and rule of the king. Come over here to Ezekiel 44. We didn't talk about this before. We still hold in Romans chapter 8. I might swing back here over here to Ecclesiastes 4, Psalms 145. Ezekiel 44, I want to say probably about verse 7. All of this wants you to pause and think and consider and weigh it on out. Ezekiel 44 and 7. And that you have brought into my sanctuary strangers, uncircumcised in heart, uncircumcised in flesh, to be in my sanctuary and to pollute it. Even my house, when you offer my bread, the fat, and the blood, they've broken my covenant because of all your abominations. You have not kept the charge of my Kadash things. You have set keepers of my charge in the sanctuary for yourselves. Thus saith Yahuwah, Elohim, no strangers uncircumcised in heart nor uncircumcised in flesh shall enter into my sanctuary of any stranger that is among the sons of Yasharal. And the Levites that have gone away from astray when Yasharal went astray. That ain't what I want. It might be chapter 43. That's not what I want. That is not it. Not to come back to mind. That's not what I want. Or it's further down. Nevertheless, you shall have ministers in my sanctuary, having charge at the gates of the house and ministering to the house, and they shall slay the burnt offerings and the sacrifice of the people. They shall stand before them to minister unto them. You know, I'm trying to think. It's in my brain too, man. It's escaping me from that location. Praise you, and I can't recall it. Give me a second. That's what I thought. I knew I was right the first time. Ezekiel 43. I knew I was right the first time. 43 and 10. You know, matter of fact, back that up. 43 and 5. Ezekiel 43 and 5. So the Ruach took me up and brought me into the inner court, and behold, the esteem of Yahuwah filled the house. We know in the inner court is what? The throne. Which goes back to what he was talking about. I know his place. I will come to his seat. And I heard him speaking unto me out of the house, and the man stood by, and he said unto me, Son of man, the place of my throne, and the place of the soles of my feet, where I dwell in the midst of the sons of Yasharal forever, and my Kadash name shall the house of Yasharal no more defiled, neither they nor their kings by their whoredoms, nor by their carcasses, or their kings in their high places. Shalom, Brother Reynolds. Now that I've said that, soles and feet, I got to do it. Psalms 110, we good in Job 23. We got Romans 8, Psalms 145, John 16, just in case. Psalms 110, y'all know what it is. Y'all know what's in Psalms 110. This every Christian's favorite line. Because they put it in Psalms. And I'm only saying that because I've heard many Christian people say it. Is that they take, and I'm meaning that because it is not really their fault. You get taught to take elements of this man's word and try to personalize them about things that you have going on in your life. That is to the detriment of your soul. You know what I'm saying? No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Baby, he said that's for the righteous. And he said every tongue that rise up against you with judgment, you shall condemn. This ain't about you moving on up in your business life and all that old other stuff. And sadly, you see that it's our women who usually project these verses because that's how those cornball men who teaching them the word feed that to them. You know, I was listening to Sunday, and the brother made a strong statement, which is accurate, is that women are consumers and men are producers. But that wasn't the point. It said 80% of consumption in America is done by women, and that women hold 3/4 of all consumer debt in America. 3/4. That's pretty much all of it. And 80% of all student loan debt. So, and I mention this here because when you hear the narrative that black girl magic and black women got all this money and they doing, it's a lie because they're in debt. I shared with y'all this here. I heard somebody mention that. I looked it up. Remember I showed you that? It said the black woman's net worth is anywhere from negative $11,000 to $5.
Yeah, and that's because he ain't got no man. He can't keep you in reality.
He can't keep you in reality. So you're going to go in debt, in debt, in debt, and in debt. See, they not telling y'all that. See, they trot these people out here in front of you, and you think these people got all this stuff, but they in debt to get it. Why do you think they got all these people out here doing credit repair? And who are the main purveyors of credit repair and getting their credit repaired? Who are the main people who push you to have a high credit score and look upon you as if you're a great man because you have a high credit score? That is a woman. A high credit score just means your ability to pay off debt. That does not mean that you have more assets than you have debt. It doesn't mean that you know how to be financially sound. It just means you know how to pay back what you owe. So then the question would be, why are you always incurring debt? Because it would be different if your credit score increased because the way you live, whether it be rent or mortgage, reports to the credit bureau. That's different. You know what I'm saying? See, the reason like this here, right? And you know, they be getting mad at Lil Duval about this here because Lil Duval lived by it. I feel how he feel, but I feel how he feel because I had a banker sit down with me and express this to me in my teens about the ability to pay for things versus going into debt. It was a woman, let that be known. You know what I'm talking about? Who told me, hey, check this out. This is what it means to take out a car loan. This is what it means to pay off a car. Which one sounds better to you? Like, she didn't try to sell me either one of the options. She laid out the differences and then asked me which one sounds better to you. I say, shoot, paying off the car. She say, well, roll with that then, baby. You know what I'm saying? I just looked at a certain thing as, why is it necessary to go into debt? And why are people trying to convince you to go into debt? Well, you already know why. Because as long as you're in debt, you're in service to whomever you owe. Now, we know we owe a debt to Yahushua, so that's a service that we seek to pay off with delight. But why am I seeking to be in debt to people for material items? At least if you're going to be in debt, at least be in some debt that's going to be making money for you. At least if you went into debt 100,000, that 100,000 could be put to use to make you 300,000. But to go into debt just for the sake of going into debt, because people say that's what you're supposed to do, that's asinine. You would have to stop and ask yourself, why are people convincing me to owe and pay exorbitant amounts of interest on what I owe? Why are they pressuring me to do that? Not the banks, but regular people. Regular people are trying to persuade you to go into debt and are looking at you crazy because you don't want to. That's when you're going to have to pause. Because if you feel that way about people pressuring you about getting a vaccine, then you need to look at debt in the same fashion. Because we just seen the story what the people got going on. The mass majority of all the colleges in the United States are going to require all the students to get COVID-19 vaccines. And student loan debt ain't looking too good right now. You want me to go in debt and be a guinea pig? You have to ask yourself, look at what these people do. You got to go into debt and get an education. So you're already starting out life behind the 8 ball. And you got to live your entire life to seek to pay off a debt. But Americans swear that they're the smartest people on the planet. And more specifically, and the worst part is that men set up this entire system that these women partake in, and they feel like they're smarter than the men who started it. And these men got you in debt, making you feel like you balling, and you're going to be paying them to the day you die. But you the smart one, huh, lady? You's a dummy. Because you'll never earn yearly what you going to owe them people. That's why the man say, Abba, get me food convenient for me. We're not talking about this here, man. We live in a society now where people don't even want to be regular people anymore. Everybody got to have on designer. Yeah, you definitely want to have cash over debt. Because if you got cash over debt, that means when you do your balance sheet, that's what that means. You in the black. If you do your balance sheet and you in the red, nigga, that junk stupid. That means you owe. That means you don't have anything. Indeed, Americans are the smartest, dumbest people in the world. In the world. That's why you're looked at with so much contempt from people from other countries, because you look down on them as if you're smarter than them, and you're not. You're a dummy. You know what I'm saying? You let somebody convince you that a sharper version of the flu was the deadliest thing since AIDS, and you niggas ain't want to come out their house. Somebody talking about, oh, I'm glad the vaccine is back. Oh, that's what a dude said in the UK. So I can spend time with my family. If you hadn't been spending time with your family, you was a damn fool. Because I put it to you this way. If I had a family member that was like, I can't see you because of COVID and you got to do this here, I'm going to go ahead and just cut you off. But clearly you a special type of stupid. And you know what? I don't want to deal with you no more because I'm more scared of catching the stupidity bug you got than COVID. Do you know what I'm saying? Because you stupid. And now I have to question myself because I'm up that same genetic stock as you is. And now I'm wondering, is the stupid gene going to cut on for me? I know that junk hard, but that junk reality. You know what I'm talking about? That junk is reality out here, man. You got a whole game, and that's why people so proud and won't serve you. That's why I be mentioning the stuff that I mentioned that go on in real life. The junk is having an effect on our ability to serve our God, and therefore it's affecting your ability to save your soul. These ain't just points to say, oh, men are this or women are that. That's bigger than that. That's just you and your feelings. But as my mom and my auntie told me my entire childhood, you'll get over it. Whether your feelings hurt and your soul be saved, then your feelings stay intact and you burn in hell. Psalms 110. Say, Yahuwah said unto my Lord, sit you at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. I mean, I would, and probably a lot of people are getting it for a false sense of security, but most people are probably getting it for the travel. Most people are looking at it as certain things that I like to do or I need to do, so I'm doing it for that. Because allegedly, because I don't know if he did or he didn't, that's why DMX got the COVID vaccine, and then of course many people believe that's what caused him to have a heart attack. Probably did, considering that they say the Johnson & Johnson vaccine was giving niggas blood clots, and they took the junk off the market for 2-3 weeks and then put it right back out there. Nigga had to be a damn fool to go get that after that. So what did you correct in the 3 weeks that's going to stop the blood clots? They just put it back on out there, and I'm supposed to jump up and get it.
I know, they took it out. Stuff that we had.
But allegedly DMX got it so he could tour. That's what they're going to get most people with. That's why they're trying to college students like that. If you're going to go to class, this is what you're going to have to do. You in debt, whatever you've been working towards education-wise is on the line. You have a strong impetus to get it. But as we always know in life, you still got a choice. Most people are not going to want to take the choice that's going to make them look to be because that's what they're doing. You anti-vaxxers. Like, it's funny that they're mocking people and ridiculing someone because they say, I don't want that. Why do I have to be an anti-vaxxer? No, that has nothing to do with nothing. There was no clinical trials done with this. I'm not taking that. I don't want it. You ain't lied. And they say you can't trust their baby powder, much less a vaccine. But that baby powder has been shown to be able to cause cancer because it clogs up the doggone pores and cause toxins to get into the blood and people get cancer from it. This has been shown.
Yeah. Formaldehyde in the products, and they ain't take it right out. They said by year 20-something.
Formaldehyde.
It'll be out all of our products.
These niggas putting dead people juice in the product. And they want people to use this stuff. When it comes down to it, when it comes to certain stuff, we know that American corporations is about money. They do not care about your physical well-being. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about your physical well-being. And that just is what it is. And you have to be wise enough to know that. We'll go back to what I always tell you, be careful what you let your children consume. These people do not care about your children's well-being. All they're out to do is to create customers. That's it. Many of us use products because your parents use that product. And 9 times out of 10, their parents use that product. You like, oh no, I can't use that. We got to use this here because that's what my mama told me to use. And you use it. And that's what they want. Generations of customers. And that's why the majority of all products are sold to women. You know what I'm saying? Because they know that women are consumers. Even though women have all this level of independence and this, that, and the third, their still natural inclination is to drain and use someone else's resources. I told y'all that the other day. I told a couple women that, and a few of them laughed. I think I said it to y'all okay. A woman would rather give you her vagina than to give you some money. I'm gonna be like this here. If you got a woman who don't want to give you no money, you might well just gonna get rid of her. If she got some money and she don't want to break bread with you, no man, just go ahead and get her out your house. She don't serve you no purpose. She don't serve you no purpose. She don't want to break bread. That's your woman. You dwell in the same house. She bringing money in the house and she want to keep it separate from you. That's not good. That's a woman who's hoping, like we seen that woman who was that white woman on there looking like Scarlett Johansson. That's a woman looking to plan her exit. That's a woman who looking at it. Certain things don't go how she wanted. She planning her exit. Cause to keep it a buck, she bringing money in and you her nigga. What she? Hey, I hate to use that terminology, but shoot, that junk gonna just be like a pimp and a lady in the night. She gonna bring that money to her man. Babe, I did brought in a couple racks. Now he might tell her, hey, take it over there, put it over there. But nevertheless, she gonna make sure that it's accounted for by him. Now I got these. I can't tell that nigga I got it. Because that's a woman who looking to make her exit strategy. That's how most people deal with you. They always looking for a way to make sure they can dip. If they feel like this thing ain't going how they want it to go, keep a center on that. Keep the center friends close. Just in case I got a slide, I can go right back into a lifestyle I was living. See, most people, that's why most people who don't want to stick close to you, that's why they don't want to cut certain people off or certain swaths of people off, because they know if you cut them off and you go back in the world, you ain't got nobody. It's just you. Then you go to feeling stupid because then you go to looking at, I should have just stayed in the word. Y'all don't be realizing. Just sit back and look at people. Know what they be doing. Verse 2, Psalms 110. Yahuwah shall send the rod of strength out of Zion, rule you in the midst of your enemies. Your people shall be willing in the day of your power. In the beauty of Kadash, from the womb of the morning, you have the dew of your youth. First and foremost, you know that now you don't want to go backwards in no area in life. You always want to go forwards and not backwards. Ain't nothing back there for you. That's why he told you, remember Lot's wife. What back there for you? Now, of course, you know the enemy, the last enemy to be destroyed is death. Sin has been destroyed. He done stepped on that. And of course, he said he'll send the rod of your strength. Y'all know what a rod is. That's that scepter. That's that mate. That's that staff. That's that branch. Company led by a chief. Y'all already know what that is. So you already know the rod of your strength. What is the strength? Take you back to Genesis 49. That's your firstborn. So you're already looking at Yahuwah is going to send the chief of his firstborn, and he going to rule in the midst of his enemies. He going to rule him in the midst of all the nations. It ain't no game. But then look what he said. Your people shall be willing in the day of your power. What did we read about willing? We read that in, what you call it? First Chronicles 29. Willing here is what? Nadava. Voluntariness, free will offering. That's what the people did in First Chronicles 29 when they came up to get the materials to build the first temple. Those people were willing. They volunteered. They offered themselves. See, most people, he said they'll be willing in the day of your power. Well, what is the day of his power? The day of his power ain't his return, baby. The day of his power, or that Ka'il, the day of his strength, the might and efficacy, wealth, army, the day of his might was the day he resurrected from the dead. He said, in the beauty Kadash from the womb of the morning. Y'all know what that womb of the morning was. Y'all know what womb is. That's Rakim. That's that womb. That's that grave. That's that grave. That womb of the morning. That's that grave. Mishkar for dawn. Breaking of the day. Ain't that when they say when they came on Shabbat early in the morning? Came up out the womb of the morning, got the dew of your youth. What's his youth? That's Adam, resurrection from the dead. Where was he buried at? In a garden. Did it not say that dew sprang up like a night mist? It said a night mist, dew, tall, Tet Lamad, the shepherd's field. Come over here, look at Genesis 2, just so you can see a little night mist. Just a little night mist. A little night mist. Just in case you didn't know. Genesis 2 and 4. He ain't making it up. It's all the same word. And we finish at this here. We knock out another song. Swing over here to Psalms 1. Back over here to where we was at. Ezekiel 44. Genesis 2 and 4. These are the generations of Shamahim and of their rats when they were created, the day that Yahuwah made their rats in the Shamahim, every plant of the field before it was in the earth, every herb of the field before it grew. For Yahuwah Elohim had not caused it to rain upon the earth. It was not a man to till the ground, but there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. And Yahuwah Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. All he did was the same thing over again. That's what he's telling you. In the day of his power, people are going to be willingly offering themselves because of the beauties of Kadash, from this man coming from the womb of the morning, and you have the dew of your youth. Boom! Genesis 2, the womb of your youth. And of course, that's Hadar Kadash, if you didn't know. Let's continue. Or beauties of Kadash. Let's continue. Verse 4, Psalms 110. You who are sworn and will not repent, you are a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. We talked about that when we were reading Zechariah chapter 6. When he told Yahushua, son of Jehozadak, that he would be king and priest on the throne simultaneously. The Lord at your right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. Y'all already know that. Revelation 19. He shall judge among the heathen. We talked about him judging. And he shall fill the places with dead bodies. And he shall wound the heads over many countries. See, let me share something with you about these dead bodies. Come over here to the book of Jeremiah. I think it's 25. Look at what he said, right? He gonna judge among the heathen and fill the places with the dead bodies. That's self-explanatory. And he gonna wound the heads over many countries. Countries is a rat, so that's over the whole land of earth. Now he gonna wound heads. Wound here is makats, that is to smite through, to shatter, and to wound severely. Jeremiah 25. Jeremiah 25. Is that what I desire? It is. He's in the wrong place. That's why. Jeremiah 25 and 30. Make it 28. Shoot, 27. Jeremiah 25 and 27. Therefore you shall say unto them, thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, Elohim of Yasharal, drink you and be drunken. Spew and fall, rise no more because of the sword which I will send among you. And you know that he will smite them with the sword of his mouth. And it shall be if they refuse to take up the cup and the hand to drink, and you shall say unto them, thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, you shall certainly drink. For lo, I bring evil on the city which is called by my name, and shall you be utterly unpunished? You shall not be unpunished. I will call for a sword upon all the inhabitants of the earth, saith Yahuwah. Therefore prophesy you against them all these words, and say unto them, Yahuwah shall roar from on high. Ain't that what he said? Did he not tell you that? Paul told you that. Daniel told you that. Yahushua told you that. He said he shall utter his voice from his Kadash habitation. He shall mightily roar upon his habitation. He shall give a shout as they that tread the grapes against all the inhabitants of the earth. Does it not say that in Revelation 14 that he tread the winepress of the fierceness of the wrath of the Almighty Elohim? A Noah shall come even to the ends of the earth. For Yahuwah have a controversy with the nations. He shall plead with all flesh, and he shall give them that are wicked to the sword, saith Yahuwah. Thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation. A great whirlwind shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. And the slain of Yahuwah shall be at that day from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented, neither gathered nor buried. They shall be dung upon the ground. But that's how you feel about it. They all gonna die. Ain't nobody gonna cry for you. Ain't nobody gonna gather you. Ain't nobody gonna bury you. You gonna lay there and you gonna rot. And why is he doing this here? Because this is a king coming to sit on his throne and you saying that you're going to be wicked and rebel, and that you're not going to be agreeable to his rule. Why would he allow you to live? Harsh one. Verse 7 of Psalms 110, he shall drink of the brook in the way, therefore he shall lift up the head. When we look at brook, of course, that is Nakal. That's a torrent or a valley or that palm tree. Simply put, he'll drink of the rivers of the waters of life freely. And therefore he will lift up the head. And lifting up the head is Ram Raj, which of course is to rise up or to rise up the chief. Elohim will rise up and ascend to his rightful place as ruler of the earth, of which he made. Back to Ezekiel chapter 4. I just had to read that there because he said that's the place of the soles of his feet. You still hold it Romans 8, John 16, Psalms 145, and possibly Ecclesiastes 4 and 14 on the return. And 1 Chronicles 29 on general principle. Ezekiel 43 and 7. Oh, that's that one there. That's before light is here. I'm killing these niggas. And leave them there. Let them ride. I don't think people realize how angry this man gonna be. The fact that had his rule. I told y'all this Wednesday too. Number one, people out here worshiping idols. And they giving his esteem unto another. I'm talking about worship. I'm talking about that's Ezekiel 14 right there, what she just mentioned. People got idols in their heart set up. You're worshiping yourself. You're giving esteem to other gods. You're ascribing the greatness of Elohim, the greatness of Yahuwah unto yourself, unto men, and unto nothing. And y'all just think he just sitting in heaven like it's going to be a love fest only for the saints. Those are only ones that he loves. He don't love anybody else. That's why he say, I pray for them. I don't pray for the world. I don't even think people realize how serious a matter that is that if you are of the world, that man say that's enmity. That man hates you. He don't fool with you. He don't like you. See, we look at this man like he a simp. I keep telling y'all, besides Yahuwah like he a simp, and he just sit off in the cut. All right, I'll let you think I'm a simp all you want, but you're going to see how much a simp I am. Because the difference between Yahuwah and men is Yahuwah don't feel the need to prove he Yahuwah. He already know he Yahuwah. You'll find out he Yahuwah when he wants you to know. And when you find out, you're not going to like it. That's how you know that he a man. That man don't care nothing about that. Because he know who he is. He doesn't feel the need to randomly assert himself for you to see who he is. He assert himself when assertion needs to be done. Yahuwah is, man, look at man. Ain't nobody like him. That's why it's easy to serve him. If you understand what type of man you're dealing with. That's why I say a woman tell me she's subservient to Yahuwah and not to her. I know she a liar. That's why I've always told you for years, women don't want righteous men because with righteous men, there is no partnership and there is no freedom to do what you want. You're not going to be a partner with a righteous man. You're not a partner with Yahuwah. You're not a partner with Yahuwah. But see, just like any good man, let that be known. When Yahuwah has respect for his spouse, he'll listen to what she had to say. Case in point, Abraham, if it be 50 righteous men, I know you ain't going to kill him. He say, shoot, show you right. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, you find me 50, I spare him. Because any man who know on a serious matter, a matter of importance, if his wife got something to say of pertinence, then yeah, he gonna hear her out. Because why would you have a woman? Why would you choose a woman whose intellect you don't trust? See, we're not talking about going our head over heels trusting a woman. If you feel like she's stupid, what you got her for? You know what I'm saying? That don't even make sense. See, the problem coming at is not that men won't hear their women out, it's that women offer their opinion when it wasn't asked for. If he didn't ask you for your opinion, what you offering it for? You don't offer that unless he asks you for it. See, what Abraham was doing with the situation with Sodom and Gomorrah is he was like, please don't get, he thinking about the people not getting killed if there were righteous people amongst them. See, he wasn't offering his opinion. He just like, you a compassionate man. See, that's what a good woman do with her husband. She see him get angry. Baby, now you know that's not, you know you better than. And he like, you know what, you right. Because that's the same thing Abigail did with David. She said, this ain't going to be no offense against you. Because she knew what caliber of man this is. She wants to remind this man, that's not you. That's not what you do. See, that's the ability of a feminine woman to, you know what I'm saying, to bring to mind, you know what, you right, baby. Let me go ahead and sit down. Fix me a beverage. You got to understand that. Most women in this time period, they want to feel like they're a part of it, so they got to have something to say. Then when he don't listen, see, he doesn't appreciate me. That's why people don't serve Yahuwah. He don't answer my prayers.
Sound like you ain't had no daddy.
Sound like you ain't had no daddy.
Walk in on a conversation and start getting grown folks.
Giving grown folks advice unsolicited? Who asked you to talk? Who asked you to talk? And you know what the sad part is? The women who always want to have something to say and offer their opinions are usually at the epitome of stupidity. Usually, not all, because it's unsolicited. Nobody asked you, which meaning that you don't have a full idea or concept of the matter to be offering your opinion. So therefore, your opinion is not filled with enough information to be concrete for someone to take and execute it. That's why it be the epitome of stupidity, because you're speaking and you don't know what you're speaking on. You just want to be felt like that you're heard. That's why a lot of people fail at the word. Because you have opinions on things that you don't know about. And you're ready to share them. It's all the same thing. It's not no dig at no woman, because it's what men do. They just don't realize that they're doing it. Maybe it's because they're raised by women. Maybe it's just their brain. Who knows? But nevertheless, they doing it. Oh, you got a little bit of the bubbly?
It's so funny. I was going to say that.
You got a little bit of the bubbly. That junk going to be here forever. Like, that's my man Jericho, a fool. A little bit of the bubbly. You know what I'm saying? These are things I want you to consider. I want you looking at me. I'm like stupid. No, man. If you knowingly married a stupid woman, that's your fault. Clearly, you stupid too. You know what I'm saying? But you got to know your place. Because guess what? You ain't going in front of you who are doing all that talking. You're going to be too scared to talk. Now, I ain't telling no woman she ought to be scared to talk in front of her husband. But you get my point. Have the proper respect. See, it's supposed to be that when a woman's words are measured. That's why the text tell you about that when you go to praying, to don't be like the heathen with your vain repetition. Your words are supposed to be measured. That means when you speak, they're more weighty because you have something to say. Most of the time, people don't be having nothing to say. Shalom, now. I'm going to take your mashed potatoes now. Would you like to put money on that? So you know that I'm about to take these mashed potatoes. Oh, I'm not.
No.
You thought I was kidding. This is my food.
That's not your food.
It is today. I'll give this food back for $20. Better go check your piggy bank.
I don't think that.
I guess you ain't eating it. No mushu, no nothing.
You acting like it's not my food.
I'm telling you. Ooh, use an easy mark.
You can just say, yes, you can have it.
I'll get more. But instead, you're over there crying with your hood. Now I've eaten all your food. You can go to bed now. Yes, the food is gone. Ezekiel 43, verse 7, I believe. He said unto me, son of man, the place of my throne and the place of the soles of my feet, where I dwell in the midst of the sons of Yasharal forever. And my Kadash name shall the house of Yasharal no more defile, neither they nor their kings by their whoredom, nor by the carcasses of their kings in their high places, in their setting of their threshold by my thresholds, and their posts by my posts, and the wall between me and them. They have even defiled my Kadash name by their abominations that they have committed, wherefore I have consumed them in my anger. What he just told you is you set your idols up right next to his and served your gods right next to his and thought it was strange. Now let them put away their whoredom and the carcasses of their kings far from me, and I will dwell in the midst of them forever. You son of man, show them to the house of Yasharal, that they may be ashamed of their iniquities, and let them measure the pattern. And if they be ashamed of all that they've done, show them the form of the house. Remember, we talked about this here. And the fashion thereof, and the goings out thereof, and the comings in thereof, and all the forms thereof, and all the ordinances thereof, and all the forms thereof, and all the laws thereof, and write it in their sight, that they may keep the whole form thereof, and all the ordinances thereof, and do them. This is the law of the house. Upon the top of the mountain, the whole limit thereof, round about shall be most Kadash. Behold, this is the law of the house. See, you're not coming into this kingdom and you're not. He said only if they put this stuff away from them, then you can show them the form and the fashion of the house. And then you can show them the instructions of the house. Because they're not going to come in here and do this here in my house. See, that's subservience. That is subservience by definition. We good in Psalms 110. Let me swing back to Ecclesiastes 4 and 14, make sure we don't need to focus anything. I really only came around there for the Ruch, which of course you know is Rosh, U, and Shan. So you know you have the son was consumed and secured life because he was in want and that he hungered. And everyone who has done this, that's why they are Yalad in his Malkuth. You're not going to be born into his dominion and rule unless you are in want and hunger for Yahuwah. Most people do not hunger for Yahuwah. That's why they won't get there. Let's go back to Romans chapter 8. We're in verse 33. I'll read 32 again. He that spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us of all things? Who shall lay anything to the charge of Elohim's elect? It's Elohim that justify, or Zadok make righteous. Who is he that condemned? It is Mashiach that died, yea, rather, that is risen again, who is even at the right hand of Elohim, who make intercession for us. Who shall separate us from the love of Mashiach? Shall tribulation, or distress, persecution, famine, nakedness, peril, or sword? As it is written, for your sake we are killed all the day long. We are accounted as sheep for the slaughter. Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, or angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, or any creature shall be able to separate us from the love of Elohim, which is in Mashiach Yahushua our Lord. Unfortunately, there are people who are willing to be separated from him just because they don't get their way. See, this is what I was talking about when I was telling y'all about what I was telling the young lady. We view submission as everything he's talking about is he's telling you that he's submitting to the will. Nothing external is going to cause him. See, because this is the other thing that this lady said to me. She was like, you need to find out your own love language and people's other love language and love them according to that. I'm going to just go ahead and say it right now. Nigga, F your love language. You know what I'm talking about? Because if your love language ain't the love language of Elohim, you ain't got no love language. You's a selfish, idolizing, idealistic bastard. Because your love language is exclusive to you, and you're trying to dictate for people to serve and honor you. Now, we're going to read 1 Corinthians 13. This man told you what love is, so we don't care what your love language is. You better get on Yahuwah's love language. That's the only love language that matters. Because he said, greater love have no man than this, that a man lay his life down for his friends. What did Paul turn around and say? Paul say, shoot, I'd rather esteem in the sufferings in Mashiach than to esteem and glory in myself. He said, we more than conquerors through him that loved us. Let's just go ahead and look at it. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4. It said, love suffer long. So love is long suffering and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not vaunt itself up. It's not puffed up. There is no pride. There is no envy. And there is patience and there is kindness. It say love don't behave itself unseemly, nor seek not her own. Love is not selfish, and love does not conduct itself in an improper manner. It is not easily provoked and think no evil. I mean, love don't provoke, and it ain't got no evil in it. If you can't be loved like that, then love is just not in the cards for you. It's just not in the cards for you. Because guess what? The love of Elohim is service all the way around the board. Didn't he tell you if you serve him, he serve you? Is that not what he said? Did he not say that if you loved him, he would serve you the way that you serving him? It's submission, but people don't like it because people are proud. No sweet bread for you. No sweet bread for you. Eat your green leaf. Just get in there when you have that's your first Chronicles chapter 29. People want to hear that. What greater love language is this? That man told you in Jeremiah 33 that he would draw you with loving kindness. But people feel like you got to love me while I want to be loved. If you don't love me, I want to be loved. You don't love me. That's why you're miserable. That's why a lot of people who talk like that ain't they miserable. They ain't got nobody. They alienated from their family. They ain't got no spouse. And that's male or female. That ain't no woman thing because it's men who talk like that. People love how Yahuwah say love the world be in a much better place. The man say, oh, no man know anything but love. Because love don't what? Don't work no ill to his neighbor. The love of Elohim don't think no evil. Right. She ain't had nothing to say about that. I don't care about no love language. If the love of Yahuwah don't do nothing for you, maybe you're not going to be able to be loved. Because if his love don't do it for you, mine ain't going to do nothing. I don't think people realize that. But the love of the living Elohim, the creator of all things, can't get it done for you. I don't know what you think my love going to do. Our brother put it to you like this here. Modern women just take. And maybe they'll reciprocate if they feel like it. And that's how we approach Yahuwah. You want to take. But you don't want to deposit nothing. That was kind of the point of referencing about how those people looked at those godly men who they knew and that they would deposit. They didn't look at, I want to extract and not deposit. We live in a society where people just want to extract. What?
She ate the steak. She said it was good.
You were just motivated by the roll. The sweet bread. Yeah, that's all you was motivated by. Call you Sweet Bread Fred. Yeah, what's funny?
I'm never kidding.
Well, that's what you is. You're Sweet Bread Fred. Let's look at power here in 1 Chronicles 29 and 11. I think we talked about that. Of the mighty deeds. We've already dealt with that. But you know what? Let me finish Psalms 145 because it's really John 16 that I want to zero in on, that I mentioned that we will zero in on. I think I kicked off in verse 14 that Yahuwah upholds all that fall and raises up all those that are bowed down. Bowed down is kakaf or kafaf. It's kaf, pay, and it looks like pay again. So we have kaf and two pays. It's to be bent down, to bow down, to be bent, or to be bowed. To bow down. So I want to look at it like this here. Isaiah 59. When you look at somebody who, after Isaiah 59, we're going to go to Philippians chapter 2. When you look at somebody who's bowed down, you're looking at someone who's prostrated themselves, or i.e., humbled themselves. Who upholds all those that fall. Remember, that's the fall, and that is can be to literally mean to die. He upholds those that die. Remember, it tells you that Yahushua is able to keep you from falling. Because remember, he said, whosoever believes in him shall never taste death. So that's how he's able to uphold you from falling. But Isaiah chapter 59, and we can pick this up at verse 9, make it verse 8. Shoot, 7 is good enough. Their feet run to evil, they make haste to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts are thoughts of iniquity, wasted and destruction are in their paths. So when we look at this here, he's talking about the house of Yasharal. You see their feet to run evil. Proverbs 6 should come to mind. Hasten to shed innocent blood should come to mind. The thoughts of being thoughts or thoughts of iniquity should come to mind, because those are 3 of the things that Yahuwah hates of the 7. You had mind that devises wicked imaginations, feet that are swift to running to mischief, hands that shed innocent blood. That's what you see here, and you see the people. Therefore is judgment far from us, neither do justice overtake us. We wait for light, but behold obscurity, for brightness, but we walk in darkness. Because they were looking, they didn't think Yahushua was the one. Mm-hmm. So even in the midst of light, they were in darkness. That's why I say if you don't believe on him, you're in darkness. Mm. He said, we grope for the wall like the blind. We grope as if we had no eyes. We stumble at noonday as in the night. We're in desolate places as dead men. Remember what he said? As we had no eyes. And he told him, since you say you see, your sins still remain, because you blind, but you got eyes though. You see, but you can't see. Mm-hmm. Or as when he quoted Isaiah 29, have eyes, but they see not, ears, and they hear not. Lest they should be converted and they should be healed. But our people got eyes and can't see, and ears and can't hear. Like I say, we study the word day in and day out. You got these dudes talking about how much they study the word, and they chief priests and apostles and kings and all this type of stuff, and can't tell a righteous man from a wicked. He said, we roar all like bears and mourn sore like doves. We look for judgment, but there is none salvation, but it be far from us. For our transgressions are multiplied before you. Our sins testify against us. For our transgressions are with us, as our iniquities, we know them. And transgression aligned against Yahuwah, and departing away from our Elohim, speaking oppression, revolt, conceiving and uttering from the heart words of falsehood. This is these people bearing false witness. These are these people killing him. Now, I want you to understand something. If you're going to talk of his power, and you're going to talk of his greatness, and you're going to talk of his kingdom, people are going to speak about killing you. Remember, he said men are going to kill you and think they do Elohim service. This is what you understand. I've been telling y'all that for years. I want your mind to get set on that. Some of these same brews that you talk with online, talk with on the phone, see in person, and all that good stuff. If you go to talking about this kingdom, if you go to talking about the rule, might, and power of Yahuwah, these people gonna kill you. These people gonna kill you. They don't want to hear that. I know we don't like to talk about it, but we're going to talk about it. Because reality is reality and truth is truth, and you got to be ready for it. And judgment is turned away, backwards. Justice stand afar off. Truth is fallen in the street. And equity cannot enter, yea, truth fail, and he that depart from evil make himself a prey, and Yahuwah saw it, and it pleased him that there was no judgment. Now just sit there and look at that, right? He say truth done fallen in the street, and a man maketh himself a prey. He does not want to do evil. See, that's why we went over there and we read Romans chapter 8, because you're going to have to understand that. He said, yeah, we slaughtered his lamb all the day long. All you're doing is talking about his kingdom and his rule and his dominion and what you desire to submit yourself to. Many other people to say that they will not submit themselves unto. Let's continue back in Psalms 145. All that's looking at is, and of course, he makes mention of all of these things. I think I mentioned something else. Who are willing to come to mind? Crack up, that jump be hurt. Psalms 145 and verse 15. The eyes of all wait upon you, and you give them their meat in due season. Of course, let me read verse 16. You open your hand and satisfy the desire of every living thing. Yahuwah is righteous in all his ways and Kadash in all his works. Now, when you sit back and you look at it, his eyes are all going to give them meat in due season. That take us back to the apostles upon him coming to the grave. They all waited upon their meat, and he gave it to them in due season, which in turn they were able to turn around and give it unto us. Verse 17, 18 actually. Yahuwah is near unto all that call upon him, to all that call upon him in truth. This is the key component. Amah, only those who call upon him according to the faith. If you don't call upon Yahuwah according to the faith, that man he's not going to hear you. He will fulfill the desire of them that fear him. He also will hear their cry and save them. And we already talked about that. That's your Hebrews 5, that he was heard and that he feared. I mentioned Philippians chapter 2. That's what I wanted on the bow down tip. Praise you. Philippians 2 and 5. I'm going to read you verse 20. Yahuwah preserve all them that love him, but all the wicked will he destroy. Of course, you know, preserve is Shamar. He's going to keep, guard, and observe, and retain, and treasure up in memory. Of course, you know, the book of remembrance was written before him for all those who feared him and thought upon his name. Same reason why he say, you know, my father loved me because I've loved him. And because he kept his word. Therefore, that's why he preserved him. See, we make this thing a lot more difficult than what it need to be. You see, if you love him, I told you before, and I feel like this before I knew anything about some words. You cannot love whom you do not trust. If you do not trust someone, you cannot love them. That's why that woman mentioned and said, see, submission is subservience. Because they can't, most people cannot equate that submission as a form of love. Because it's the ability to yield to someone who is greater than you. The last thing that most women in this day and time of this society that we live in is to acknowledge the fact that a man is greater than her. You feel like you equal to him. But see, here's the devastating problem. If you're equal or greater than the man, do not ask men to protect you. I.e., stop asking Yahuwah to protect you. Stop asking. If you feel like you're greater than God, stop asking him. Stop coming to why he don't protect us then? Because you wicked, nigga. Why would he? You're not under his rule and authority. You're not owed it. See, that's coming from people not knowing the word. So they feel like Yahuwah is supposed to protect them by reason of them existing. He never said that. He never said that at any time for anyone. You have to be under his rule and authority for his protection. We've had this conversation before, so I'm not going in depth. Y'all already know this. No one protects people who are not under their rule. Why would he do it? Why would he do it? Why would that's where women get it twisted in modern day society. So I got to do this or do that. You want someone to risk their life for you to continue in your rebellion. That's not how life works. See, you can't feel like you can free to do what you want and somebody can come bail you out when you get yourself in a sticky situation. Because that's how people treat Yahuwah. Oh, he need to come bail me out. I seen it every time I've been to jail. I never once walked into jail facing a charge and felt like, you know what, let me call on God for him to come save me. I done told y'all this too many times. Never once. If I wasn't calling on him before I get here, why would I call on him when I'm in trouble? It would be different if I had been serving him and now I'm in here and I ain't getting nothing. And of course I'm going to call on him in the midst of my trouble. But I was doing evil. So if I wasn't thinking about him or calling on him before I got here, why would I do it when I get here? I didn't have that type of mind. Like, oh, it's time for me to start reading this Bible and praying. I wasn't reading the Bible and praying before I came here, so I'm not doing it. To me, I felt like that was disrespectful for a man who I ain't even know. I ain't know no word, but I just know I'm a man. You don't do no man like that. I don't fool with you. I don't listen to nothing you say, whether I'm aware of your ways or not. And now when I feel like I'm in some type of trouble, now I feel like you need to come and protect me and deliver me from the consequences of my actions. Absolutely not. That is how women think. I thank the Lord I ain't had that mind, because that's how women think. Come deliver me from the consequence. Come be the cleanup man. I'm not a victim. I made these choices. I made these decisions. It is not your duty or responsibility to deliver me. I'm going to have to take this on the chin. Oh, no, them people don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear that. It's not a man's job out here to deliver a woman from her own stupidity. That's the bed you made. You're going to have to lie in that dolo. If that man chooses to join in with you, that's his decision. But he don't have to. He's not a real man because he's doing it. That doesn't make him a real man because he's doing something that benefits you. That's how wicked the mindset of men are. That's why this time is just like the time of Noah, because they're corrupting the way of Yahuwah upon the earth. And every thought of man is only evil continually. See, that's the part we're not looking at. See, you thinking you want something fantastical when really it's just the heart of men. Look how they're taking the word of Yahuwah and corrupting it on the earth, making it perverse. Look how people's minds think. People are evil. But see, we only want to look at evil as murder, pedophilia, rape, the police killing you. No, nigga, them thoughts you got in your head, evil boy. You malicious and spiteful, nigga, for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Niggas got all type of evil going on in their heart, man. Mark chapter 7 tell you about it. Your blasphemy, your evil eyes, your adulteries, your fornications. You're malicious. Niggas is gay, lesbians. You understand? Covenant breakers. All type of things, man. People's hearts are dark. And then you feel like Yahuwah is supposed to protect you. Well, that don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. A lot of people wonder why I stay to myself. I don't want nothing to do with what these people got going on out here. Philippians 2 and 5. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Mashiach Yahushua, who being in the form of Elohim thought it not robbery to be equal with Elohim, but made himself of no reputation and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men. And being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the stake. Wherefore Elohim also have highly exalted him and given him a name which is above every name. The name of Yahushua every knee should bow, of the things in Shamahim and the things in the rats and the things under their rats, that every tongue should confess that Yahushua HaMashiach is Lord, to the esteem of Elohim Abba. Notice that he was a servant, meaning he was subservient, and in the midst of that, he bowed himself down, and Elohim lifted him up. Because Yahuwah is a keeper of his word. Everything he say he gonna do, and he did it to his son first. So if you know he did it to his son, the son gonna do it for you. Yahuwah is not a liar. But a key component is you need to learn who he is. This is a man. This is a man. He's not no simp. He ain't no buster. He ain't no sucker. He ain't no man who gonna think like a woman, i.e. think like a human being, think like someone who's of the dust of the ground. He's not gonna think like the Adamah. He ain't gonna think like you. He already know every thought of man is vain. Which one of you have taught him the way of knowledge and instructed him in understanding? There is no profit for him to think like you. He just understand your frame. See, that go back when I told you when Brother was having that conversation. Should men understand women? Understand women for what? When Yahuwah don't understand men, Yahuwah understands your frame, that you're but dust. Therefore, he can know how to operate with you. But see, people don't want to hear that because they want you to be feminine. He wants you to be feminine in your thinking, meaning not a leader, but a follower, a confirmer, and a conformer and a compromiser. Women conform to the image of the man that they're with. That is what is called an imprint. If a woman has been with a man long enough and she respects and admires that man, she begins to behave, act, think, and speak like that man. Men are not conformers. And when I say men are not conformers, meaning by nature. By nature. It's in a woman's nature to conform to the man that she respects, to the man that she admires, to the man that she serves. It's in her nature to do that. It's in your nature to conform. Remember, the Ruach is willing, but the flesh is weak. It's in your nature. Why you say the kingdom of Elohim don't come, the reign of Elohim don't come from observation. The reign and dominion of Elohim is within you. It's in your nature to conform to his image. What you do is you reject it, which is what you see modern women doing now. They're rejecting conforming to the image of men because they think the conforming of becoming like him is a manner of weakness. When they don't realize that's where all your strength lies. Let's look at that Romans 8 where he said conform to the image of his son. And that's why you mean, i.e., that's why you see people, they're rejecting to conform to Mashiach. Because remember, to conform to Mashiach, you're going to have to be meek and fear Yahuwah. You're going to have submission and respect. Ooh, we just spoke too many words for people who don't want to hear that. 8 and 26, Romans 8 and 26. You're going to have submission and reverence. People don't want to submit and they don't have respect. Romans 8 and 26. Likewise, the Ruach also help our infirmities. We know not what we should pray for as we ought, but the Ruach itself make intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. He that searches the heart know the things which is of the mind of the Ruach, because he make intercession for the saints according to the will of Elohim. We know that all things work together for good to them that love Elohim, to them who are called according to his purpose. Notice what he said, according to his what? Purpose. That's why a woman's supposed to fit in according to that man's purpose. That's what I was trying to tell the young lady. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor or not. If you being a doctor doesn't fit into his purpose, you're useless to him. And of course, they were doing what women did. We're going to need this and we're going to need that. See, you're talking about what you're going to need. You ain't trying to find out what does he need. See, that's where people problem come in at. You're not going to the throne and asking, Abba, what is your will? What is it that you desire for me to do in accordance to fulfill your will? You're thinking what you bring is going to fulfill his will, and you ain't even thought. Is that according to his purpose? That's why I said Yahuwah don't care about your degrees. He don't care about how much money you make. He don't care about your status. Remember, he is no respecter of persons. That doesn't mean anything to him. He said these people are going, things work out good to those who are called according to his purpose. Let's look at the Greek word for purpose. See, a lot of people don't want to realize that you don't want to fit into a program. You want Yahuwah to fit into your program. And he's not going to do that. Because if you don't want to fit in according to his purpose, he has no use for you. When we sit back and we look at prothesis, because hold on, you know what? That's wild. Okay. Prothesis has two definitions. One is the shoe bread or the sanctified bread, and the other one, of course, is purpose. But mainly the shoe bread. That's what it translates to. Ain't that wild? You know what? That's why I say that's interesting, because we done talked about this already. So this is what we're going to do. Let's go look at the shoe bread. Exodus chapter 25. Or do I want 25? Numbers 4. I'd rather have Numbers 4. Number chapter 4. You could pick it up at verse. Yahuwah spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, take the sum of the sons of Kohath from among the sons of Levi after their families by the house of their fathers. From 30 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old, all that enter into the host to do the work of the tabernacle of the congregation. This shall be the service of the sons of Kohath in the tabernacle of the congregation about the most Kadash things. When the camp set forward, Aaron shall come, his sons, and they shall take down the covering veil and cover the ark of the testimony with it. This is why I came here, because that's why I felt like I just wanted to share some extra. When we look at covering veil, Masak, Mim, Shamak, and Kav. So the first thing that we look at this here, right, is how the Ruach has grabbed a hold to the subduing of the Son. Oh, definitely, Dad. You definitely ain't lie about that, because you definitely got a lot of players who go off script. And freelance is what they call it. It's more so in football than probably than basketball. And people don't realize it's a lot of football players who freelance, mainly on defense. A lot of linebackers and safeties freelance a lot. They don't do their job. They don't stick to being where they're supposed to be. And I'm sorry, I got Samak. I said something different. My fault. That's Meme, Samak, and Kak. The Ruach grabbed hold to subduing or grabbed hold to death. That's exactly what the Son did, because it's a covering, a rag, a screen of the tabernacle. That is what covered the veil. Y'all know what the veil is, but if not, I shall share it with you. That is Pokaref, or the curtain, or the veil, or the sacred. That is Pei, that is Rosh, that is Kaf, and that is Tau. So already you see that the words of Abba were covenanted through death. We're going to sit back and say subduing, because you remember what happened when Yahushua was crucified. What happened, baby, when Yahushua was crucified? You know, baby. You can tell. Huh? I say just what happened to the veil when Yahushua was crucified? What? It was ripped. No more screen. No more hiding. Remember, you could come to the throne of grace for help in the time of need. You couldn't conform to the image of God previously. You couldn't even step to him. Let's continue in Numbers chapter 4. He say, and shall put thereon the covering of badger skins, and shall spread over it a cloth wholly of blue, and shall put in the stays thereof. Shalom, man. Badgers' skins. Let's look at badgers. That's a leather skin, an animal hide. Posh, Tau, Cot, Sean. What do we have here? A covenant was made through consuming and separation, or he was declared to be the Son of God by the resurrection of the dead and by the Ruach HaKadosh. Remember, badger skin, animal leather. What is that? What you call it? Dang, what that thing called? It's escaping my brain. The red heifer or the scarlet robe. See Isaiah 1. For though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be white as snow. And you can spread over it with a cloth that's wholly of blue. Holy is Kalel, which is in the entirety, clearly. But we want to cover it. A cloth, that's what we need. Beged, garment, clothing. Bat, Gamal, and Dalet. The Son was the messenger who was to be offered. What is the garment of which he's covered with? The Ruach HaKadosh yet again. Let your garments always be white, and let your head lack for no ointment. Verse 7, upon the table of shewbread, they spread the cloth of blue and put thereon the dishes, the spoons, the bowls, the covers, the cover withal, and the continual bread shall be thereon. Now, again, he said, called according to his purpose, shewbread, panem. What is used here for shewbread? Which is usually used for face. It's pay. It's noon. It's yod. And it's mean. So the words of life were manifested through the blood of the right hand. Those who were called according to his purpose, they're called according to the offering of Mashiach, because they were slain with the Lamb from the foundation of the world. See, come back to Romans 8. See, a lot of people don't realize that you were slain with the Lamb from the foundation of the world. Everybody wasn't slain with him, baby. Everybody wasn't slain with him. Oh, let's see if we got another word for shewbread. Everybody wasn't slain with him. And that's a thing that a lot of people don't like to take. Yeah, this is the regular word for bread, lakim. And that bread sits before him forever. But it's different than you say that this shewbread that's laid out on his here is the face. This bread that's set upon this cloth and this altar and in this kadash, face Elohim. See him face to face. Didn't he tell you that in Revelation 22? That they shall see his face and live? That's a whole nother matter. Come back to Romans 8, though. But this is a key component. You got to be called according to his purpose. A lot of individuals, they don't want to be, this son right in high school. Chick I used to fool with back in the day. She used to say this John all the time, used to press it all the time. And she used to do it along with saying it. But whatever I was with, she was with it. And she was like, a woman got to be on your team. She got to be on your team. If she ain't on your team, she don't serve no purpose. If she don't do this and this like I'm doing, what you fooling with her for? She say it every day without fail. You know what I'm saying? Then as you get older and you begin to sit back and look, especially you done had an experience of a woman who's pressing, because it's choosing, she breaking bread, she willing to do this, she willing to do that. She got to be down, meaning a free will offering. She's willing to offer herself for the fulfilling of whatever it is that you're doing. See, where a lot of men get messed up at and get pissed off at is you ain't got nothing going on. You don't have a purpose, but you expect her to submit and yield to nothing. You expect her to get down with nothing and then get mad with her. Most men don't even know when they got a woman who's down with them, because you're unaccustomed to it. Because most men are taught that you got to prove yourself to this woman, who would never felt the need to prove himself to anyone. He showed up and rose up to show his power against Pharaoh. But number one, I wanted to crash him. Number two, I'm going to fulfill my word to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So once I do this here, I know his offspring going to roll with me. But you didn't, though. And instead of proving yourself to him, you kept provoking this man that he might prove himself to you. And all y'all were proving out that he was a man of his word every time he dropped that wrath upside your head. He tried to be compassionate, but you wasn't trying to go for that because you're too stubborn and hard-headed. And it's sad. It's real sad. But when you turn around and look at her, she got to roll. She got to be down with you. And when you have a vision and you have a plan, she should want to be a part of it. And if she wants to be a part of it, that's how she's going to fit in according to your purpose. See, many are called and few are chosen. Few are chosen because many who are called have no desire to fit into his purpose. Many people don't want to fit into his purpose, because to fit into his purpose, you must relinquish yours. That's why a lot of women in this world say that they don't want to lose their independence. Or I don't want to be, why do I have to be defined by being married or being a mother? That means you don't want to be here according to your purpose. You want to do your own will. You're not fit for salvation. Don't think that's just about no woman. Many men have not came to the call of Yahuwah because they got things in this life that they want to accomplish. So you didn't want to submit. You don't want to give that up. Like I say, many things that you see women do, men do it. They just do it towards Yahuwah. You can't do it towards a woman because she's not I want to put this here. You're subservient to Yahuwah. But see, she's subservient to you. So what she was supposed to do, of course, you're not going to be able to do to her what you do to Yahuwah because you're in the position of power in that dynamic. But you're doing to Yahuwah what she does to you, and yet you have a problem with her. Again, I mention this all the time because he said, I will not punish you because you are joined to whores. It's a harsh reality that we have to look at that as a whole. Our people are out of order. Our people are unsubmissive. Our people are unbelieving. Our people are proud. And we have no desire to serve. See, we think serving each other means something when you don't want to serve your own husband. We don't want to do that. Because if we wanted to serve our own husband, then we would always talk about how great he is. Remember when we were talking about the respect aspect, you know what I'm saying? Or the praise acronym that's coming in because of the level of respect and admiration that you have for your husband. We don't have that. That's why we don't speak of his kingdom and his rule. All we want to talk about, we're going to crush the nations and we're going to rule versus talking about the righteousness. This man said clear as day that the esteem of Yahuwah will go from one end of the earth into the other, and that they will all know the works of Yahuwah. Everyone. They go, see, if we go supposed to sit back and look at that, he is the power and the esteem and the victory and the strength, like we read in First Chronicles, you will be talking about his Gabor or his mighty acts. What mightier act is a man who resurrected from the dead to be able to remit the sins and give life unto all those that believe on him? But we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about that because in talking about that, we're going to have to take up our stake daily and follow him. We're going to have to, 2 Corinthians chapter 4. And we don't want to do that. Because we want the focus to be continually on us for no other reason, because we don't want to submit. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 10. He said, the meek shall inherit the earth. So that means those who submit and yield to the will of Elohim, those are the ones who are going to inherit salvation. But we don't want to yield. We think fringes and Hebrew name, all that stuff is irrelevant. We really look like jackasses. Because you playing dress up. It's Halloween for you. This is a masquerade party because we're using exterior things to cover up the fact that our hearts are filled with unbelief and darkness. And we'd rather pretend to be something than to just actually be it. It's less work to be what you claim to be than to pretend to be it. It's less work. It takes a lot of work to keep up a facade of something that you are not. Life is easier and lighter to just be who you are and to just do it. One thing I learned as a child, when I say child, I should say young man, it's easier to tell the truth. You ain't got to remember nothing. See, when you lie all the time, you got to keep up with all your lies. When you tell the truth, you ain't got to remember nothing. You ain't got to remember I said this to this person, and I said that to that person, and I said that to this person. And now you got to remember all these lies you told. When you tell the truth, you ain't got to do none of that. You ain't got to do none of that. You ain't got to do none of that. You tell why you think Yahushua ain't never had to remember nothing with them people but that word. People be lying. They got to keep up with their lies. Just imagine if you just all the time that you invested on wanting people to believe that you a Hebrew or you're an Israelite or you this, that, there, and the third, is if you just live godly. You see, it's just easier. Ain't none of that because you ain't trying to prove nothing to nobody. That's why I say you can't believe because you seek honor one from another and not the honor that comes from Elohim only. We got a lot of whole niggas out here. A lot of busters out here, man. And so, and when I say this here, because you got a lot of men complaining about stuff they ain't got no business complaining about. Ain't no grown men should be walking around here complaining about no woman. If that woman that bad, get rid of her. But it ain't really that the woman that bad. Not all the time. Sometimes they are. A lot of times brothers just inadequate. And it's just better. It's just easier to continually blame that woman than for him to just step his game up. You know what I'm saying? To be quite honest, a lot of these brothers out here are inadequate. And I ain't even talking about inadequate in the financial standpoint, just inadequate in manhood, period. And therefore, she don't respect you. Two things a man should never do. Don't marry a woman you don't like. Don't marry a woman who don't respect you. Don't do it. Now, you can do it. You're going to hate your life, though. And any of these older gentlemen on here can tell you that. Don't marry no woman that you don't like and that who don't respect you, especially the latter. Don't marry no woman who don't respect you. Because I'm here to tell you, if she don't respect you, she never will. Respect is not a light switch. You don't cut that on and off. That's just like women say, oh, I'll submit under them, so you lying. You don't cut submission on and off. That's why these niggas be falling off from this word. You can't cut that on and off. You either submit or you don't. All that I'll do this when I'm a wife, that means you ain't a wife now, ho. Like I've told you this before. If that's who you are and that's what you do, then you should just do it. That person's losing out if they don't do right by that. You're not getting played. You're playing to win. That's what Herm Edwards would say. You play to win the game. You got women like, he want me to cook and clean. Now, I'm not telling you to go to no man's house and clean his house from top to bottom, because see, that's a little much. I ain't asking you to go to no man's house and wash his drawers, because that's a little much, because you got to go outside of your element to do that. You unmarried, and that man should wash his own drawers. But the reason being, because that's his kingdom. So he should have no problem keeping his kingdom functional. But once he bring you into that kingdom, then it should be your delight to serve. But if you were seeking to enter into this man's kingdom and you weren't serving him before you had the chance to enter into it, why in the hell would he let you in? Oh, now what does that sound like to you? Because you have not entered into the kingdom of Elohim. So you mean to tell me you're going to serve once you get in the kingdom, but you're not going to serve before you get in it? Now that don't make no sense. Because let me ask you this here. Do you got to serve before you enter into the kingdom, or are you going to enter into the kingdom and then serve? Which one is it? You tell me. Are you going to serve before you get in the kingdom, or serve when you get there? Meaning you're going to have to submit and be subservient. So when are you going to do it? Before or after? That's a good answer. I can't refute that answer. Y'all let me know, because I'm here to tell you. One way or another, you're going to serve and be subservient. You're going to serve and be subservient. Because I can tell you this here. If you don't serve and be subservient now, you surely will go to hell. Because he's not letting you in. Because you're not a wife. Wives serve. They don't serve at their convenience. And if you think I'm talking about a natural woman, you dumb as you look. You dumb as you look. It's a harsh life out here we got, man. And we out here because we playing games with our soul, and it ain't right. 2 Corinthians chapter 4. I said verse 10, I believe. And I did. That's what I said. Yes, verse 10. Always bearing about in the body the dying of the Lord Yahushua, that the life also of Yahushua might be made manifest in our body. For we which are alive are always delivered unto death for Yahushua's sake, that the life also of Yahushua might be made manifest in our mortal flesh. So then death work in us, but life in you. We have the same ruach of faith, according as it is written, I have believed, therefore have I spoken. We also believe, therefore speak, knowing that he which raised up the Lord Yahushua shall raise up us also by Yahushua and shall present us with you. For all things, for your sakes, that the abundant grace or mercy might through the thanksgiving of many redound to the esteem of Elohim, for which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day. You know, a lot of people like to take, I die daily, talking about you sinning, and that's not what that's referring to. You're putting the flesh, you're mortifying the flesh every day, meaning that you're suffering in the flesh to cease from sin. You should not be repenting every day. If you're repenting every day, that means you're sinning every day. And Mashiach is not the minister of sin. Elohim forbid. That is not what that man instructed you on doing. Your faith should be strong enough for you to live according to it. Now let's go back to John chapter 16. I know we got on a little late. We ain't at the 9 o'clock start time yet. I had a long work day. We probably won't hit the 9 o'clock start time till June. That'll be a June, July, August type of thing. We don't usually do it in May. It's getting close to getting dark towards 9, so we probably play it by us. It's getting dark now at about 8:30. But I know by June, it'll definitely be getting darker, closer to 9. And y'all willing, that's when we'll implement the 9 o'clock start time. But I had 3 different jobs to hit. And yeah. One was a blank trip though, which really sucked. Nigga had me tripping, telling me it was rotten food in the house. I'm like, I know it wasn't no refrigerator in that house. It sure wasn't. So I don't know what them people had going on with that. Oh no, niggas out here kidnapping. 16 and 7, John. These niggas out here kidnapping. Nevertheless, I tell you the truth, it is expedient for you that I go away, for if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. But if I depart, I will send him unto you. And when he is come, he will reprove the world of sin, of righteousness, and of judgment. Of sin, because they believe not on me. We talked about that a little bit on Wednesday. It is a pure, outright, utter sin to not believe on the Son. I want to read John 3 just because. Just because. Straight from the mouth of Yahushua himself. Like Yahuwah tell you what it is and what it ain't. I'm going to pick it up at verse 14 on general principle. You know what? I'm going to pick it up at 10. John chapter 3, verse 10. Oh, you know, I meant to tell you, I had done, shalom, man. I had got Taraji P. Henson's hair milk. I like her hair milk better than Mael's. It is fantastic. It is. I forgot to bring it. I'm gonna bring it. Let you see. Yeah, that John. Yeah, it's better. I said it's fantastic. You gonna like it. Oh, you know what I'm saying? You ain't know Joe, the old lady, had that stuff going on. I ain't either. And I have been buying her products for a good 6-7 months straight. John 3 and 10. Yahushua answered and said unto him, are you a master of Yasharal and know not these things? Truly, truly, I say unto you, we speak that we do know and testify that we have seen, and you receive that our witness. If I have told you earthly things and you believe not, how shall you believe if I tell you of heavenly things? When we sit back and we go to talk about the kingdom of heaven, you're talking about the reign and rule of Shamahim, or the reign and rule of Elohim. And a lot of people don't want to hear about things that are from above. I remember I told y'all this before several times. I remember the first time somebody told me, you so heavenly minded, you'll be of no earthly good. I said, that makes no sense. How could you, if you heavenly minded, that means you got the mind of God. So how could you got the mind of God? How can you have the mind of Elohim, the mind of Yahushua, and not be any good to anybody on the earth? That makes no sense. But all that really was, it was a shaming tactic. Because people rarely encounter somebody who is just fully engrossed in the word and it's not for show. Now, I'm not speaking about myself per se. I'm just speaking period. People who are fully engrossed in the word and they're speaking of the word is not in a pretentious, condescending, belittling fashion, but it's just a delight in conversation in the word of Yahuwah. People are not accustomed to that. So they would rather, or especially if your thoughts or answers to matters are according to the word, because that's just because your mind is stayed upon that. People don't like it. So they'll do things to shame you in order for you to stop doing it. That is something that you all must understand, because it's a testimony against them. But you're not trying to testify against them. That's just what brings delight to you, or that's just where your mind is at. It's different. It's not the norm in society. See, and the reason why I say that, because we know most brews, you got brews who try to act like they study the word 24 hours a day, nigga lying. Dude, like I told y'all before, I wouldn't even tell nobody I study the word 24 hours a day and I still don't know it. I mean, you wasting your time. Ain't nowhere in the world you can get no good, strong understanding, and you just read. You just reading for the sake of reading. You don't really understand what you read, because most of them don't believe that they need a guide to instruct them in the way of what they're reading. But for the most part, it's just to look a particular way. We're not gaining any comprehension, any insight into the man. Because at the end of the day, you're learning about a man, that man being Yahusha, i.e. Yahuwah. You're learning about a man. You're seeking to understand a man, who he is, what he is about, what he desires, what he requires, what he demands, what he will give unto you, how he operates in said situation, so that you can see the world through his eyes, so that you operate in the world as he does, that you take on his mind. After I read this John, I'll come over here to 1 John, but let me finish this John chapter 3, right? Verse 13. No man have ascended up to heaven, but he that come down from heaven, even the Son of Man which is in heaven. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whosoever believe in him should not perish, but have eternal life. For Elohim so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believe in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For Elohim sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. He that believe on him is not condemned, but he that believe not is condemned already, because he have not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of Elohim. And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone that do evil hate the light, neither come to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. He that do amot come to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they're worked in Elohim. He says, see, those who do the faith, they're going to come to him. See, many people who are not in the faith, they're not coming. See, I mentioned that Romans 8 would conform. I didn't read it. My apologies. Let's get it now. I feel like I didn't read it. After that, we go to 1 John chapter 3. I believe that's what I desire. Yeah, I didn't read it. I stopped at 28. Romans 8:29. For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called, and him who he called, them he also justified, and whom he justified, them he also esteemed. And you know, justification is righteousness, and the knowledge of my righteous servant shall justify many. That's what the prophet said. The knowledge of his righteous servant is what will make many righteous. But he said to be conformed to that image. If you're called according to his purpose and you labor according to that purpose, you will begin to take on his mind and become like him. To conform is to submit, and to submit is to honor. And therefore, the richest honor and life of that Elohim has to give will be bestowed upon you. See, I was going to grab a couple verses in Proverbs about him sitting on that throne, executing judgment and things of that nature. And Yahuwah willing, maybe we'll visit them on tomorrow, because they definitely came to mind, and then we just went in a different direction. But I just want us to think about this here when we think about his kingdom. You're seeking to come into the dominion and rule of someone who does not need you to come into their kingdom if they have. Remember, he said that the Son of Man will send forth his Malachim to root out everything out of his kingdom that offends. That's what he said. If you offend against him, he's going to get you from out of his malkuth. You will not come into the place where he rules and has dominion and think that you're going to dwell there. Now, see, it's a multitude of Psalms coming to my head, and I got certain Psalms that are already set, but we may not even get to those that are already set based on what's coming into my mind, and we just knocking Psalms off our 150 list left and right. Because most of this stuff still tie back to what we read in Psalms 89 and some of the other Psalms that we started off with. It's like you have to sit back and understand this is the greatest kingdom that you will ever encounter, because this is an eternal kingdom, like we talked about last week. This is a kingdom that has no end. This is an everlasting kingdom, an everlasting rule and dominion, reserved all for those who love him. Many will not enter in because they refuse to be conformed. It is not a deplorable thing to conform to the image of your husband. Why would you not? Why do you not want to be in the image of the Son of the living Elohim? Why does that grind your gears? Why does that put a crawl in your butt? Well, that's not how the saying goes. It'd be like, "What's stuck in your craw?" That's how that's said. But I couldn't convey that any other way. 1 John chapter 3. I might want chapter 4. I think I do want chapter 4. Missing what I want. And so the young lady I know, she had asked the question. She was like, when you hear the Most High, what image come to your brain? And I'm like, shoot, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I ain't never had something where I hear Yahuwah's name, I hear the Most High, I hear God, and then I'm trying to create an image in my mind. 1 John 4 and 14 or 13. Because what I told her is what we're about to read. I told her when I see him, I know when I see his face, I'll see him as he is. I'll know him when I see him. So I ain't concerned about trying to create something in my mind on what he looked like. That's asinine. For what? What is the purpose? Well, I seen one nigga responded to black woman. I say, cut his balls. Cut this nigga off. You hear God and you think the black woman? Nigga, stop it. The pandering is strong with this one. 1 John 4 and 13. Hereby we know that we dwell in him and he in us because he has given us of his Ruach. Listen what he said, and we have seen and do testify that Abba sent the Son to be the Savior of the world. And what John said, they seen and they bear witness to that. Are we bearing witness that this man's son, his son, to be the Savior of the world? That's why we're not talking about his kingdom and his dominion and his rule and his great power and his mighty acts. Because that's what we're supposed to be bearing witness of. The name Yahushua is supposed to be known, not just to know that it ain't Jesus, it's Yahushua. No, we're talking about knowing who this man is, what he's about, and what he came here for in truth. Because he said he delivers those who fear him in truth. That's what we read in Psalm 145, is it not? So that means you're supposed to declare the faith to these people. He said, declare unto Zion your Elohim reign. Let these people know that Elohim is Malach in the earth. He got dominion and rule. This man overcame death. He got rule over death. The one thing man couldn't defeat. He ruled over sin. We're supposed to tell these people this with no regard. And we're not doing it. We think that what we're doing is sufficient. You are the modern woman. You're doing what you want to do, and you want your husband to take it, and that's not what he asked you for. But I thought you like it, baby. That ain't what I asked you for, ho. You got to go. Now you want to talk crap about him because you ain't giving what he asked you for. You can't do that. You can't tell a man, this is what I got to give you, and this what you gonna like. No, ma'am. And when I say ma'am, I'm talking about you, daughter of Zion, not the daughters of Zion. I'm talking about the daughter of Zion, who's like that. He likened to a comely, delicate woman. That's who I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. That's who I'm talking about. I'm talking about you men. See, I told you this before. We want to be pointing out them women, and the women need to get right, but I don't care nothing about them. Because ain't no nation or civilization gonna get right by focusing on no women. You got to get right as a man. And if she don't get right, you leave her where you found her. See, that be the hard part for most men. You love your mama. That's why you can't leave these hoes behind. When I say hoes, I mean hoe in the literal sense. A rebellious, stubborn, disrespectful, contentious, churlish woman. A woman who has no desire to follow. A woman who has no desire to serve. A woman who has no desire to obey. You don't want to leave her behind, but leave them hoes behind. Because I'm telling you, who ain't taking them. So why should you? You know why you won't do it? You scared. You want the pleasures of the flesh. You like vagina too much. I forgot what it was, man. I told my homegirl this here, man. I said, ain't no vagina on the earth worth that. And her response was, how would you know? What do you mean? I don't need to know. I don't need to put my penis in a bunch of vaginas to find out ain't no vagina on this earth worth compromising my masculinity. That's just innate within you. Ain't nobody, no person, no thing, no nothing on this earth worth compromising your godliness. It's not worth it. You got to leave them where they at. What you think? Why you think Yahushua told you what? Leave them alone. If every tree that my heavenly Father have not planted shall be rooted up, if they find and then he gonna lead them into a ditch, he said, leave them alone. Don't chase after them. Don't beg them. He said, leave them alone. Leave them alone. You don't compromise your godliness. You don't compromise your masculinity to keep someone around. If they don't want to meet it, remember what we tell you all the time. What did Nehemiah tell them people when he was sitting up there on that wall? He said, I'm performing a great work. I can't come down to you. You're going to have to come up here. I'm not coming down there. I got a great work I'm doing. I ain't got no time to stop to tend to your folly, to your foolishness, to your selfishness, to your pride. See, you don't like to hear that. We don't like to hear that. That don't feel good to the soul. But we need to hear it. Because you ain't supposed to come down from off that wall. You're doing a great work. See, you're only coming down off the wall because you never climbed your monkey behind up there to begin with. See, and you wasn't working. So therefore, it was easy for Sanballat and Tobit to come up on you with their stupidity and you to go right along with it and sin, by going into fear. I don't want to lose them. So because of fear of that, I reject my Elohim. Oh no, and sin. That what Nehemiah said. They trying to put fear in my heart that I might sin. He said, oh no. He said, that's what I can't do. Verse 15. Whosoever shall confess that Yahushua is the son of Elohim, Elohim dwell in him, and he in Elohim. And we know and have believed the Elohim, the love, that Elohim have to us, Elohim his love. He that dwell in love, dwell in Elohim, and Elohim in him. Herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment, because as he is, so are we in this world. That's conforming. He said, as he is, that is how we are in this world. Is that how we are in this world? Why do we not want to conform? 1 John chapter 3. This was the other one I was referring to. Praise the Lamb. 1 John chapter 3 and verse 1. That's conforming. But behold, what manner of love Allah bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of Elohim. Therefore the world know us not, because it knew him not. Beloved, now we are the sons of Elohim. It do not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that When he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And every man that have this hope in him, purify himself even as he is pure. See, that's a pure desire right there. Many people don't believe that they're going to see him. That's why they're not going to see him as he is. That's why people can't identify a righteous man from a wicked man now. Back to John chapter 16. You know what? We hit all these things already, and I'll just be dragging this stuff out. Let's stop ourselves right now. Hallelujah for Yahushua in the word, because y'all willing, I believe the next psalm I got is a continuation in this matter. I appreciate y'all, and I bless y'all out the house of Elohim, man. Let Elohim be esteemed and praised forever and always. He's just and righteous. All his doings. He's the mighty Elohim, worthy of praise and honor and esteem. Give thanks to his name for his son, for through him we have life. What would we be without the Lamb of Elohim? Surely we would all be dead men with no hope in the earth, living and wandering aimlessly. Let those things be considered. Let his righteousness be acclaimed and extolled, and let men submit themselves unto it. Yahuwah willing, we may not go that long on tomorrow because Yahuwah permitting another soul will be added unto the roll in heaven if Yahuwah see fit to allow us to see another day. And that is always a beautiful thing. Because we don't take, well, at least I don't. I can't speak for other people. We don't take immersions lightly. Immersions is more than just going to take somebody down to some water and perform a ritual. It's somebody who's saying, on this day, I'm giving myself to my God. I'm desiring to take on the likeness of the death of his son and be resurrected in the likeness of life. That from this day forward, I will submit and yield myself to the will and righteousness and purpose of my husband, that I have no greater desire in life other than to serve and please and fulfill the will of my husband. That is a beautiful thing. It's what makes the angels in heaven rejoice. It what makes souls of righteous glad, the righteous glad, and that's what leads to many thanksgiving under Elohim. And that is an unspeakable gift, one that should not be taken lightly nor disregarded. Our God is faithful, he's just, and he's the author of salvation. So go ahead and make sure your name written in his story on the right-hand side, that you might meet him in peace. I bless y'all at the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. And again, I appreciate your time and love y'all. Continue to stand firm on that rock and let your election be sure. And Yahuwah willing, till the next time.